Welcome back to the Red Bull Ring. It's round 5 for MotoE as they return to the Austrian circuit for the first time since 2019. Alessandro Zacconi remains in charge of the standings by 7 points, but victory went the way of Eric Granado last time out in Assen. He's becoming a bit more hit than miss in 2021, but does he have time to get back in the fight for the title standings? We'll find out in just a second, because as always I'm joined by Matt Dunn, who's going to be giving us the scoop on this weekend, which also happens to be the penultimate round. Can you believe?
I know, it's come around so quickly, and we're only sort of halfway through the ordinary calendar season of the Grand Prix races. Good news, back at the Red Bull Ring, fantastic racing in MotoE here as always, as there always has been. Then yeah, that double header in Misano coming up, but it really is crunch time in the championship now, isn't it?
Well, let's talk about, before we talk too much about the championship, Eric Granado's fantastic victory last time out, because it wasn't a lights to flag jobby. He had to work a little bit for it in the initial stages. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, when Eric stayed on, he's won both races. That's the fact of the matter at the moment. And yeah, he's sort of managing to win in under all sorts of pressuring circumstances. And that was just superb. He sort of timed to perfection, utilised the battles going on behind him to escape a little bit. And that overtaking move down into turn 1 to take the lead was just so textbook. He must have absolutely nailed his exit out of the GT chicane to just draft past Zacconi. Was overtaking him before even the breaking point. Fantastic, so clean, and just completely kept his head. We're really seeing this year, by that sort of mistake that Eric made back in Jerez, and then understandably a mistake as well in Barcelona after the drama on the grid. We're seeing such a calmer character, and I really think he could be a good shout for the championship, along with, well, all the rest of the top 4.
We'll come on to that in just a second, Matt. Talking about battles that were happening behind him, a really, really exciting battle on that last lap for second and third between Jordi Torres and Alessandro Zacconi.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Both, Zacconi is so driven and really wants to maintain that championship lead, wants to get that title. And then Jordi just so calm and consistent. That's what brought him the title last year, yet saw a particularly aggressive move on that final lap. He did say he needed to be more aggressive, and he sort of went past him so close, come over with his foot that levered Zacconi's elbow off the thing, made him twitch, and then he grabbed a handful of gas and then found himself, nearly high-siding himself out of the race completely. Stayed on, finished third, but what a cracking battle that was, and between two guys who were still in contention for the title. I mean, that's what this is all about, isn't it?
Let's move on now and chat about Domi Aegerter, who made a really out-of-character mistake, actually, for Domi in MotoE. Early on, he did remount, but gosh, that's hurt him, hasn't it, in terms of the MotoE World Cup standings?
Yeah, it has. I mean, that was quite odd to see Domi go down, sort of entry of the GT chicane, a front-end tuck. I mean, do you tend to see some of those much in MotoE, a corner like that? It looked a bit slower than normal. He didn't even have too much lean angle, but what I did see from the onboard at that time was he was just losing touch with the leaders at that point. So maybe at that point he's like, oh, and then needs to get a wriggle on, and yeah, that's when mistakes happen. All it takes is that tiny little extra pressure of brake pressure on the front, and away it can go. But yeah, uncharacteristic from Domi, but he's far from out of the fight as well.
Far from out of the fight. All those 4 men we've just talked about are very much in it. 14 points cover the top 4, Matt. I know you've still got 2 races to go. I'm going to put you on the spot. At the moment, what is your gut telling you?
My gut telling me is I have absolutely no idea. Neil does this in commentary. He always puts me on the spot, and I just end up listing the whole grid. So I'm going to say the whole of the top 4 are not out of it. I would say I'd be very surprised if anybody outside of that top 4 manages to actually get in the fight for the title once again. But all of those guys, they've all potentially made mistakes. They've all potentially had a slightly off day, finishing not with as high amount of points as they actually need. It really is all to play for, and with Zacconi and Jordi Torres, 2 quite calm guys, getting a bit feisty last time out, I don't think it's going to be any shortage of that here in Austria anyways.
Well, joining us now, we have Matteo Ferrari, who you will remember was the inaugural winner of our first MotoE World Cup. So if we can have Matteo to come and join us, you can come and slot in the middle of us, Matteo. Lovely to have you with us here at a very sunny Red Bull Ring, and actually picked up your best result of the season last time out in Assen, which feels like an awfully long time ago now, way before the summer break. But just explain to us, what went so right for you in Assen?
Yeah, we We try every time to improve this year, because at the beginning of the season we struggle a lot with the bike, but my team continue to believe in me and on the bike. So we arrive in Assen, and on Friday we try new things, new setups, and the feeling with the front become very good for me, and I improve a lot. During the qualifying also, and during the race, unfortunately, during the first corner, I had a contact with another rider, so I miss a lot of position, and I try to overtakes, and also the feeling with the front improved, so I can overtake now. And at the end of the race, I saw Zaccone and Jordi struggle a lot, and I said, "Oh, I can," until the end. But of course, the fourth place for me was really good. A lot of points for the championship, and of course. We have 3 races now. We have to arrive in Misano with very close gap to the front. This is my goal for Austria.
Yeah, Matteo, I've got to ask, because this year we've seen something quite special, because in the previous 2 MotoE seasons, qualifying was so important. If you were far back outside the top 10, you have no chance of getting a good result. But somehow, in the very first race of the year, you came from the back of the grid after exceeding track limits in qualifying.
Yeah.
Where did you finish? Top 5, 6 even? How is that possible in MotoE? How come you were able to do that and we've never seen that before?
Yeah, during the first 2 years, I didn't do mistakes during the qualifying, and of course I said at the beginning, okay, if I do a mistakes, I can do a good result. But in a race, when I did a mistake after the qualifying, I spoke a lot with my team, and I said, okay, we can do a good result because we have a really good pace. And of course, we did the race during the afternoon, where the condition was very warm. So in that condition, I was able to overtake a lot. And of course, the race is very short. But if you have a pace to win the race, if you start in the last position, you can overtake and do a very good result.
Do you think other people can do the same as you? Is MotoE different this year? Are more riders able to overtake from outside the top 10 on the grid?
It's difficult because if you don't have a lot of feeling with the bike, of course, the rookie riders are in a difficult position, of course, because they didn't know very well the bike. But riders like Dominic, Jordi, Granado can do this because they have a lot of experience with this bike.
Awesome.
Let's bring it to this weekend here in Austria. MotoE hasn't been here since 2019, so there'll be half the field that actually don't have any experience, but the other half that do, one of those being you. What's important to take into consideration around racing around here at the Red Bull Ring?
Yeah, of course, I rode here in Austria in 2019, and will be really nice to come back, and also we have some data from here. And I'll try to do my best on Friday to arrive in the Sunday race with a little bit of gap from the others. I think we are only 4 riders that rode here in Austria. So of course will be difficult because this year all the riders are very constant, and of course. Now the pressure is very high, so we will see which rider can do mistakes, and of course I'll try to do my best to put pressure to the others.
Why not?
Last question for me then. You're still within a shout of the world title once again. That'll be your second. Do you feel it's possible?
Yeah, of course, because we have 3 races, 75 points, and of course we saw Eric crash, Dominic crash, so it's really difficult because at the moment every rider in the front are very fast, and to be there you have to push a lot. So it's really easy to do a mistake, and of course here in Austria the weather conditions are very crazy. So we will see during the race, because I saw the Moto3 race, Moto2 race with patch of wet. So we will see.
I can't wait.
all the best for this weekend, Matteo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And you can join Matt Dunn, Fran Wild, Neil Morrison for E-Pole on Saturday, local time 4 o'clock. And then our race on Sunday this week will kick off at 3:30. But from myself, Matt and Matteo, it's goodbye for now.